Okay, welcome, gents. This is Working on It. I'm Anthony Ball, and today we're joined by Sam Zulch, who is a Perth-based boxing and strength conditioning coach who specializes in working with busy men who want real, sustainable change, an elite amateur boxer with a background in sports science and sports business. He brings solid technical knowledge together with years of practical coaching on the gym floor. Sam coaches out of Lacey's boxing gym in Perth and supports clients online through his coaching program, where he's helped hundreds of men improve their fitness, tighten up their nutrition, and build routines they can actually stick to. What sets Sam's apart is his focus on mindset and habits, not quick fixes. He is interested in how men see themselves, how they handle pressure, and how training can support the rest of their life. Today, he joins us to talk about how he works with men, the discipline that boxing teaches, and what really helps men stay consistent when life is busy. Welcome, Sam. Now, let's go into kind of the biggest news is around the engagement. So just want to say a big congrats around there.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah. It's an exciting journey, engagement,
Yeah.
and everything else that comes along with it. How I want to go kind of like a little bit deeper than just the kind of surface level stuff. So how was it for you? Like really like being able to step into that engagement? Because I know there's a lot of men that struggle with like commitment and they might
Mhm.
not want to, they have a lot of fear, they fear they'll lose their freedom. How was that for you?
Easy to be honest. Like it wasn't a huge struggle or like resistance there. I'm definitely like it helps with my partner. Like I'm really confident in who she is and kind of what that is. Yeah, I think that is a big part of it. Yeah, like if it wasn't someone I was so committed to and like believed in, I probably wouldn't be so confident. Yeah,
Yeah, so you have a lot of trust in your partner, which is nice.
yeah, mass definitely helps. Like, and it's just me.
Yeah. Is there any element of you like craving that freedom? And there's like, is there any fear of stepping into marriage and losing that
No,
freedom?
not at all. Hey, like someone was saying to me during the week, like, "Oh, this is it, like one girl forever now." But like, I kind
Hmm.
of felt like that for the last 6 years. Like I'd say, as soon as we started dating, I was like,
Hmm.
I didn't ever thought of anybody else really. I'm just not like super driven like that. Like
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to spend my time chasing and like there's other stuff, more fulfilling stuff out there, I reckon.
Hmm. Yeah. It's quite a healthy approach, I see it as.
Right.
Yeah, because there are a lot of men that just avoid relationships altogether.
Yeah, definitely a lot.
They won't even
Like
get
even like
into it.
Yeah, like even like a lot of like hate towards women is like a lot of guys are quite
Mhm.
sour, which is tough. Like to be fair, I haven't had that many bad experiences, so I can't badman that too bad. I hope, if you did have a bad experience, it would change your point of view a lot. But I'm fortunate enough not to, I guess. So it helps
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. That kind of trauma response from any difficult situations that we can go through.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess, I mean, you're kind of at the start of it, but you're getting into like the engagement and the marriage. It's obviously very soon, so I'm not sure how far along you are
Mhm.
there. But
That's cool.
how do you have any intention of being a father? Do you want to be a father?
For sure, definitely. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'd be really cool. Just good to like yeah, fun journey. I always think about it. Like just like I feel like a normal kind of every day to will pop into my mind. It's like, oh, that'd be cool to like teach them this or like raise them this
Hmm.
way or like, experience this. It'd be fun. Yeah. Definitely looking into that.
Yeah. Is there any, do you have any fears around it?
We just want to be good enough. Hey, like I'd want to be a really good example. Like I would want to walk the walk massively. Like I wouldn't want to be the kind of dad that's like, you should be in shape and not in shape. There's like sporting dads that have a big beer belly and you're like, oh mate, try harder. And you're like, fuck, you know that trying. Like,
Yeah.
mate, you'd want to, yeah, that would be a big one. And probably just not being too hard, like pressuring on them. Like I've got pretty high standards. I don't think I'm that bad. Like I don't put my standards onto other people massively. I'm not too many years. Yeah.
And do you feel so the high standards that you have, like they're mainly for yourself?
Yeah, I think so. Cool way to live is like high standards for yourself and low standards for others within reason. Like you got to have a bit of self-respect there. But I just think there's a lot of people out there who have it the other way around. They have really low standards for themselves and high standards for others. And you see people I'm like, oh, I can't believe they don't do this or do that. And then you're like, take a look at yourself. Like, do you do that? You should definitely be judging yourself first, I think, than other
Mm.
people.
How do those high standards look for you, and how do they play out?
Just everywhere. Hey, I'd probably like working. I want to be working most of the time and at as high a quality as possible. You know what I mean? Like if I do spend time scrolling or wasting time, I do feel pretty guilty, but in a good way. Like it does help having a good partner. Like at the end of the night, I'll usually want to do some work after we kind of have dinner and watch TV. I'd want to go on my laptop. If I don't and I just relax, I'll feel a bit bad, but I'll get good support there being like, hey, good to chill out.
Mm.
And same with like health and fitness. Like I'm always looking in the mirror like, oh, I would like to do this better, but it's all healthy. Like I'm a big believer in like, I prefer to have a bit of an internal battle where I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. That's not good enough, but have really good results externally rather than I think there's too many people out there that are fine on the inside. Like that's all good. But then you look and you're like, man, you shouldn't be that relaxed. You shouldn't be a bit harsh on yourself. Like it's just probably a little bit, there's a balance of course, but a bit too much self-love. People are like way too accepting with like very low standards. And I think that leads to like more chronic self-hate and self like, oh, like we're not happy inside. Whereas like a little bit of like pressure on yourself or be like, no, I need to get to the gym today or I'm not going to be happy is quite healthy in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's okay to make yourself feel bad in balance.
In balance, yeah, absolutely. And I guess because with men, we can get really sucked into work, especially if it's
Yeah.
like purpose-filled work, which it sounds like you're in that, right? It sounds like you find it very fulfilling.
Yeah.
And what I noticed when my son came, which was
Mhm.
just over 2 years ago, and then we had Maya, who's 7 months now, I noticed I was very conflicted in the sense I wanted to be with them, and I also wanted to do the work
Mm.
that I find fulfilling, like doing this podcast, like doing the men's groups, like doing the breath work and the retreats and trainings. And it was the real stuff that I real like in my core gives me that fire. But I also get a lot of contentment and kind of solitude in the family.
Mhm.
So yeah, what's kind of your thoughts on finding that balance? And do you notice it within yourself when maybe you're going too far into work and you need to kind of like maybe your partner calls you out and says,
Mm.
let's have a break, let's connect and just relax for a bit.
Yeah, I think balance is kind of a tough thing, like in that it requires a lot of discipline on either side. I think too many people are comfortable going too far to the hardworking side, which really requires no discipline, same as the other side. That's where it's like such an important trait to build over time, where you can do the things you don't necessarily want to do or aren't dying to do in that moment. Like it's very easy to work till 10 p.m. when you probably shouldn't. That's almost as easy as being lazy till 10 p.m. when you know you shouldn't. Like you should just do what you know you should do. Like I remember when I was boxing, I would have been 6 or 7 fights in, and I got the key to the gym, and I became a trainer. So I went from training 2 to 3 times a day, which was kind of the normal, to like 4 or 5, 6 times a day, like ridiculous
Mm.
as many sessions as I could do. I would have won my first 6 or 7 fights maybe, and then after doing that 4 or 5 sessions a day, I lost my next two pretty badly. And I was like, do I need to train harder? Do I need to train like 7, 8 times a day? And Justin Lacey, my coach, was kind of explaining to me that it takes no discipline to train 4 to 5 times a day, just like it takes no discipline to train 0 times a day. He's like, because you want to do that. And you're just like, there's no pull from me. There's no like, I'm not slowing myself down at all, which is the hard part. Just like,
Mm.
get to the gym. You're saying it probably going to take more discipline and more hard work to train once or twice really, really well. And then that's what I started doing. And I got a lot better and like got back to winning. But yeah, I think like discipline is probably the best trait to explain it. Like it's going to take discipline when you really, really want to work to go spend time with family or do something else when you want to really, really work. But you know what I mean? Like there's a difference
Mhm.
between what you should do.
Yeah, that's very interesting because, like, in my mind, I see men who are workaholics. Like, they generally are work. And I actually think they must have so much discipline to make that happen.
right.
And
Yeah.
I think that because in myself, I'm actually on the other side of it. Like my
Mm.
natural core is I could be lazy. My natural core, I could literally just like lay down and do nothing.
Yeah.
That's my natural calling. I really struggle to like just kind of grind.
Yeah.
I don't have that natural calling. So when I see men who are doing that, I think they must have so much discipline, resilience to make that happen. But it's
Yeah.
interesting to hear your reflection on saying it's not discipline.
Mm. It's almost
Yeah.
laziness because there's no, yeah, it's that pull. That is what is the hard part is just you got to do what you're supposed to do, which is kind of the hard part of that is knowing what it is because there's that voice in your head where you're like, am I doing what I'm supposed to do or am I being lazy? Because growing up, I was a very lazy kid and out of shape kid, bad
Mm,
grades and all that. Now I've become for a long time now a really, really hard worker. And I think probably a little bit known for that at times, like being
mm,
a hard worker, get up early. But then it is like, at what point does that become laziness? For me, I wake up at 3:30 each morning, and that's been a gradual process, getting earlier and earlier. But then there's a point where I had my alarm set once for 3, and I'm just like, what are you doing? What is the point of that? And it's laziness. And reflecting at a church yesterday, there was this thing where the pastor said, eat less, chew more. In the last 2 weeks, I've been doing a lot more meditating. And
mm,
the whole idea that I spend 20 minutes getting clear and focused, the next 8 hours will be a higher quality than if I did 8 hours and 20 minutes and didn't do the meditation, but it's junk. Like I don't
mm.
actually focus on it. And now I've lost my train of thought. But like just having that like yeah, I lost my train of thought a little bit. But just doing better quality work there, like if that's 30 minutes earlier that I get up kind of lead to much more, like is it better?
Hmm. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it's very useful. It's a very interesting reflection to have, just to have that
Yeah,
epiphany.
it is tough. Yeah, it's just that idea of like, and you also got to know when is the right time to call it. It
Mm.
is hard to know. You kind of have to be right at some point. But knowing like, are you being lazy or are you taking the right break is really hard to decide.
Yeah. And like we need self-awareness around that, right? Like we
Definitely.
need people around us that we can actually trust, who can actually like call us forward and say, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
you're doing the same shit here. Let's reel it back. You committed to reducing the amount of hours, or you've committed to increasing the amount of hours. Do you
Yeah.
need any support with it?"
So, so valuable. Like you can push yourself so much further forward by having someone like that, especially when it's someone with a bit of authority. Like if some, lazy person tells me to stop working or slow down, I'm going to be like, what do you know about that?
Yeah.
Um,
There's no
um,
respect there, right?
yeah, that's a really
Or
big part of
trust.
it. Yeah, massively. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel very real.
Yeah. So, what would you say is like, actually, before that, I just want to touch on kind of the route we were just going down. Then it's like, I think for men, it's quite easy to go down that solo wolf kind of mentality
Yeah,
of,
definitely.
and I don't know where that comes from. I'm sure
Mm.
there's like a deep inherent
Yeah,
nature of it, but I
yeah,
think also
maybe.
culturally, it's potentially sending us that way, like this ultra independence, thinking we have to do
Mm.
everything on our own.
Yeah,
Um,
massively.
but yeah, soon like, and I was going down that path in my 20s, especially. I was heading down that path,
Mm.
and I think also just life happening, you kind of move away from your friends with all different situations. Maybe you go to university, or you go traveling, or you move to a different country, different cities, you get a partner, you start to move away and pull away from maybe our childhood friends. And I find a lot of the men that I work with and talk with struggle to rebuild or gain that companionship with other men. Do you
Mm.
notice that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit young, so maybe I haven't noticed it as much. Yeah, a little bit. I do see like a lot of guys get kind of isolated. Yeah, I think again it comes down to like that balancing of like they do just kind of super focused on one goal, which is a
Mhm.
lack of discipline for sure. It's not impressive. Like it's probably just more comfortable for them to like work 16-hour days, not see your friends, and then you don't see them once, and then the next time it's easier to, it's more scary to see them again. There's a little bit like I'm bad for that. Like I probably often choose to stay home and work if I have a chance compared to going out, which feels like the hard work and smart thing to do. Like, I guess it is just a balance. And I think it is also like, where do you want to end up? I think if you do genuinely want to end up at a really impressive big goal, like when we're talking like career wise or financially, it probably is going to require a lot of that. I think also at the same point, sometimes you can outgrow people. Like if you're going to go up to that next level, there's probably people up there for you. You just need to have that. You kind of have that period where you're like in between, like you kind of know not good enough for the group up above, but you don't want to be stuck with the group below. I think that is healthy at times, and there is like a period of isolation. But you know, sometimes I think people get stuck there a little bit. They don't commit all the way and get good enough to where they can go up to that other group. But it's such a good thing. I think like knowing people and being in a group of people that are better than you, it really like pushes you forward. It's surprising how powerful that is. Like you hear people talking about like, oh yeah, buying another house this weekend or like buying another investment property. It just makes you instantly go like, I need to be doing that in a healthy way. Like that stuff can be useful to try to push yourself up into a group.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably just that limbo phase where some people get stuck in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important. I mean, there's a lot of research to suggest like how important for the core people around you and how they can influence you,
Yeah.
the environment around you and how that influences you. So yeah, I think there is that point where we do grow and it's like these potential friendships aren't resonating anymore and not feeling, and it's not like we just throw them away and just be more narcissistic and have no feelings towards them. It's still like there's still emotions there and some form of connection, but just like making that transition and thinking, okay, I really want to step more into this area. These men inspire me. I want to be in a circle around people that inspire me and drive me forward. Because I think for men, like it's so important that we have that fire and desire.
Yeah.
If we just let it burn out, I feel like our partners, especially if the partner is, let's say, more in the feminine energy, they're going to call us forward. They may not do it in a direct way or a necessarily healthy way all the time, but they'll be nagging. They'll be like, come on, you can do more than this. You can, I see so much potential in you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is scary. I wouldn't want to notice that. Hey, like I was scared. Like I feel like, but yeah, it probably does happen quite a lot. Like it should be a massive, you know, indicator that you're not doing good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the groups, like it's so helpful. Like I caught up with someone that I knew from growing up the other day, and it was just so like shocking the different standards. Like I bought a house a couple of years ago when I was 21, maybe. And we were talking, and a friend like living at home, or like, oh, I want to do another degree or whatever. And the standards are just super low. Like, what are you doing for work? Nothing really. And like, buy a house soon? Nah, man. Like, market's so fucked up right now. There's no chance. Probably never over 30. I'm just like, what? And then even if I, oh, what are you doing with your stuff? And if I talk about like, buying another place, I feel like awkward, like out of place. Like, I feel a bit bad bringing it up. Like, whereas like there's this group of guys like, that I train that are all like, I would consider like good friends. And every Friday, like train them separately, like one-on-one in person. And they're all like either run businesses or like have quite successful careers. And every Friday we go to a sauna and the conversation is just so, yeah, like positive. And like even like one of them is really love this guy, like really like the client and he's quite well off. And like we're talking and one of the clients like, oh, because they're all like a bit older than me. They're like, oh yeah, Sammy bought his first house at 21. And when most people hear that about me, they're like, oh wow, that's amazing, good job. And he's like, 21? How the fuck haven't you bought another house yet? What are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, shit. Like, what am I doing? Like, I got too like caught up in like doing a good job or whatever. Like, which is like a fantastic way. Obviously, it wasn't like a you're doing terrible. But it was like, come on, man, like you should have bought another one by now. And it's like, yeah. And then like, you know, it's such a, it's so. I do think it is quite important because you couldn't easily waste like 5 years of your life if you don't get caught out like that. And just like if you're around people that are too encouraging and too like pat you on the back, it'd be a really bad thing. Like, honestly, when he said it to me, I was like, oh, that kind of sucks to hear. But like I was literally listening to like property podcasts on the way home. My whole weekend was spent on like realestate.com. Went to like 8 home opens the next weekend. Like I was like, you know, and then that's so like valuable because a little bit of a sting for like a minute can like be the perfect wake up call.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great part to just keep going down. But you've also got to be aware, like, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? You know, like, what is the intention of doing what I'm doing rather than mindlessly? Okay, because potentially, okay, so you're in that scenario and they have 10 guys hearing the same thing. They're going to act differently towards it, right? We internalize it
Yeah.
differently depending on our internal voice. So you seem to have internalized in potentially a healthy way again. We've also got to
Mm.
recognize, well, what is that internal motivation? Is it just because I'm being shamed and called out, or I feel shame? Or is it because it's like, yeah, do you know what? That's going to be beneficial for my long-term future, financial future.
Yeah, I think I'm both. I actually think shame can be a really good thing. Like looking in the mirror and being embarrassed of yourself can be the thing that saves you 10 years on your life. And yes, it can sting, but that's okay. A little bit of pain for a little bit isn't a big deal. Like it's quite useful. You know what I mean? I talked about this with a client the other day. I'm having a coach that looks over, like I looked over every single client's food log every single day. And I had done for like, I think today's like day 260 something. It's good to have a little bit, and it's a balance of shame. You're not like ramming it down someone's throat, but if someone tracks 4,500 calories and they're trying to lose weight, that shame is a little bit good, depending on the person. Some people that can be the end and they can throw it all away if having one bad day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like a bit of shame is a good. I remember like when one of the biggest jumps in my boxing career, I lost this fight against a guy. I should have won that fight. And it's like it was 11 of us on the fight card, and I was the only one that lost. And the guy was like two weight divisions below me, had less fights than me, and he hadn't fought in 6 years, and he was like 36. And I was like fighting every weekend into my prime, two weight divisions bigger, and he beat me. I just did a shit job, like absolutely choked it on a night. Didn't want to exchange with him. Just I didn't do a good enough job. And my coach tore me apart for it, like in front of other fighters. He was like, "That was terrible. Like that was such a bad performance." But it was brutal. Like I was just about in tears, like brutal. And even called me afterwards, being like, "Mate, that was a bit harsh. Sorry about that." But like you had to hear that. Like he was like, "Just checking you're all right." And it was probably one of the most. It was a painful conversation. Like it was brutal, and there was
Mm-hmm.
heaps of shame. I was like, I've embarrassed the entire team. But then I had like the best round of my career after that. Like beat like
Mm-hmm.
multiple time Australian champion after that, like best wins in my career when like representing WA and all that. So I think like in that case, shame is like a really useful tool, not necessarily a positive one, but like it's useful, which is more important than being positive.
Yeah. Yeah. It can definitely be a wake-up call.
Yeah, if you're living in shame all day, that sucks. Like, I don't want to live like that. But like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of like almost like you use it like a knife, like just a little bit of a poke. But like if you're
Yeah.
always, yeah, that sucks. Like that's not what I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. It's like a slap on the face. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's super valuable. I would much prefer that sting rather than like don't have that great run in the
Mm-hmm.
career. Quit. Like I definitely thoughts in my mind after that fight of being like, nah, I'm quitting. This sucks. Like that was so bad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably would have had a lot of shame around that forever. Like that big slap of shame is better than like a small chronic shame.
Yeah. So rather than the shame like causing you to like throw it away, you kind of
Mhm.
stepped into it more, being like, okay, no, I can grow from this.
Yeah, and really like getting the spotlight. That's why I'm not a big fan of too much self-love and positive, all
Mm-hmm.
this shit. Like, it's important at times, but it's just too much self shit nowadays. Like taking some time off for myself or like don't want to burn out or whatever. I reckon if that person went and worked really, really hard at whatever for a week, they'd feel better about themselves rather than sitting around and doing nothing pretty much for a week. You really
Mm-hmm.
think you're going to feel better after a week of that? Like maybe
Yeah.
it's just the way I'm paid, but never ever have I taken a day or two off and been like, oh, maybe like a couple of hours. But I remember having taken a week off and been like, wow, I feel great for doing that. Usually you just feel like a piece of shit. And then you've gone slow, then now you're motivated. But if they just from the very start didn't take that week and you're like, nah, I'm not going to go into that dump. There's just too much acceptance around that. If someone says, hey, I need a week off for myself, everyone's like, yeah, it's fine. Then people would be like, no, you don't. Shut up. I do think people need more of that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that depends where the person's coming from. Like, if they are on the extreme of like workaholism, maybe
Yes.
slowing down and having that break is going to
That's a good call. Yeah,
allow them to learn a lot.
that's a really good call.
Yeah. Whereas if they're going down, if they are naturally lazy, then yeah, having a week off is not going to be beneficial. And
Mm.
actually stepping more into the fire and stepping more into actually doing stuff is
Mm.
going to help to find that balance. And I work a lot with yin and yang, right? It's just like balancing the
Mm.
energies. And I'm always consistently trying to find where can I find that balance? Like, I don't want to go too extremes. Like, yes, I do things and it's extreme and I learn from those experiences. It's like, okay, I don't need to do that. Like I can just reel it in a little bit or step more into it a bit more. And I do agree. There's sometimes where I feel like I need a break and there's a lot of mental processing going on. And I need a break from the mental process. But usually when I just do my meditation practice, that's enough to release that need for a break. I need to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning so that I have a little bit of time on my own before the kids wake up.
Yeah.
So I think the internal, like, I need a break, they can look very externally. I need a holiday, I need to go away, I need to just do nothing.
Yeah.
But really, I think they can find it within the structure, just adapting it slightly, right? And I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah. A lot of the time it does require discipline to get the thing that they actually need. Like, it's probably not going to mean going to get taken and watching TV or not. Like, that's really easy to do. Like, that's probably not going to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I think a good indicator of the right choice is like, what's the thing you don't want to do, or like, what's the harder thing? Like, there's this really good book by Ryan Holiday, I think it is, called The Obstacle Is the Way. I remember reading that like when I was younger, maybe like in high school. And I had this, and I don't think it's perfect, like definitely not this black and white, but I used to always say like, whatever the choice is that's harder, I'll just always pick that and that'll set me up. But didn't think it helped them a lot. But then the thing is like but it depends on how you view what's harder. Cause like that got me into trouble when I was doing things like training 5 or 6 times a day. I was like, oh, it's harder to train again today. But then the more I thought about it, like the talk I had to jump from my coach, it was actually hardest to not go and train. So I do think that view holds up pretty well. But yeah, like when people do need a break, it's probably going to be harder for them to go on a walk with no music for half an hour, or get a workout in, or meditate, or catch up on coffee. That's really the thing that they really want to do. What they really want to do is like go get some junk food and sit on the couch all weekend. But that's, not the right thing to do. It requires some discipline, like, for sure.
Yeah. Because I think I like that concept and I like that approach. And I think I just wonder where we could find like, okay, how can we truly understand like what is harder? Because I think if we were to go from the logical brain of like, okay, naturally, okay, I'm going to train for 2 hours lifting my max weight, right?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And if someone's like addictive kind of mentality, they might think, well, that's clearly harder because my belief is like that's harder. But really, then they might have to say, well, okay, let's sit down and just rest and just, maybe wherever they are, like go to the forest, the beach, and go in nature and just be there.
Yeah.
And nothing else, like leave the phone and just be in nature and just sit and do nothing. Right? Their beliefs might think, clearly lifting weight is harder. So I'm going to do that. So it's really finding that balance and understanding like the internal hardness.
Yeah, agreed.
Or resistance.
I think it's become such a big like maze of questions and decisions that it can become quite overwhelming. I think what's more useful is having a good structure that you've really thought out, and like it's really good. Like if you know that for your goals, 3 lifting sessions with this program and these 2 runs is the right thing to do for your physical goals, then you want to just have that structure set up. And then it's like, well, if I feel like it, awesome, that'll be great. But if I don't feel like it, I still have to do it. There's no need to go down that pathway of thinking, because you're just like, it's just what I need to do. I do think a lot of people would benefit from, I always get bagged out to this, and it's definitely not very like probably modern and like how people think nowadays. But it doesn't really matter how you feel. You can just do it and switch that off. Like maybe it's just a thing that I have. But if I feel bad for no reason, I think people hate it. But I'll just stop feeling bad. I'll be like, no, I'm not feeling that shit today. Like I'm going to feel positive and happy, and I'm just going to choose to feel it. And like so many people, they just don't really try it. If you can feel bad for no reason, you can feel good for no reason as well. And some people will feel bad. And it's almost like that emotion of, it's called melancholy, where it's like a nice feeling of sadness. And I think people just get too addicted to that, where they like feeling bad and they like to feel like that. If you have a real clear structure around what you want to do with the day, and even with your life and all that, but with your day and what you need to do for that, you can just go through the day not caring about how you feel. And if you do that every day, by the end of a couple of years, you'll look back and be like, oh shit, I accomplished a heap. And it doesn't really matter how I felt during that time. And then you can kind of sit back and go, cool, well, I feel pretty good. It doesn't really matter how you feel that bad. you can't really just like power through. There's too much talk about it nowadays where you have to understand how you feel and you have to really break it down and figure it out. I think that can be quite unhealthy for a lot of people. Like it's just, like you can just get over stuff and not think about it. And it can be, and there's a balance. Like if you just push it down at you, then like that's a pretty good sign that you need to go deal with that.
Yeah.
But I think people would be surprised that like, even like when the way I grew up, there was like any family, there's lots of dramas and all this kind of stuff. But I get along really well with both my parents nowadays. And my brothers probably get along with them not as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll be like, oh, what about when this happened or whatever? And I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm just over it. Like, yeah, that's not healthy. You can't just push that down and like get over it. Like, well, I'm happier than you are. Like, I've got a better relationship. I don't give it, like, it doesn't bother me at all during the day or during the week. Whereas you're like, I had a call with one of them the other day. Love my brothers, like, not whatever. But I had a call with them the other day and it was like a Friday night and we talked for an hour and a half about some stupid bullshit that didn't matter. Like, this person's coming to this family then. And he's like, yeah, but you can't just live like not kind of going into and understanding what happened. You can't just do that. It's not healthy. I'm like, well, I was having a great Friday night and like not being bothered, but you're on the phone to me getting upset over nothing. So like who's happy and who's healthy and who's not? Like, I think too many people want to talk too much about their emotions, which is obviously a pretty like unpopular thing to say, but there's a balance. Like if things are bothering you, annoying at you, deal with that for sure. But not every. Sometimes I'll wake up. Actually happens quite a lot. I reckon at least 2 or 3 times a week, because of like how early I wake up. I'll wake up in just a super foul mood. Like I'll just hate everything. Like my cat will get in the way when I'm waking up. I'm like, oh, and I'm like just hating everything. And even like I go to Macca's every morning for a coffee because I need it open. And like if they're like a bit slow or whatever, I'll just be hating it. And most days, half an hour in, I'll just catch it and be like, no, fuck, I'm not doing that today. Like that's pathetic. Like that's such a loser thing to do. I'll be like, no, I'm gonna be positive from now on. And like you can literally just do that, but there's just too much talk nowadays about like, no, if you have a morning like that, and you should go see a therapist and really break it down. Like that's probably gonna do more harm than good, I reckon. Again, unless it's like super prevalent. But I think just getting over stuff is pretty powerful in like not having to go down all these pathways.
Yeah. I love that. And I completely agree with where you're going with there as well. Like my kind of theory on this is, I mean, in the 40s and everything, we had the wars and like the generation before our parents really like they were very detached from their emotional states, like, heavily detached. And it was like the families were also like torn apart because, men went to war or they're taken away. And there wasn't a lot of time to really understand our emotions and feel. So you got that extreme who were just like, and potentially, they were beating and they were violent. There was toxic parts of that completely.
Yeah.
Then it's gone to this other extreme where it's like, feel everything and process everything. Think about everything. And it's kind of gone to that way right now. And I agree, like you can get stuck in it. It's like you can get stuck in processing every little detail, every little habit. It's like, it doesn't need to be that way. It can be very simple.
Yeah.
The mind can really just like take us down this toxic rabbit hole of all the things that are going on internally. I think that heavily links to like, yes, process what you need to process. Don't get stuck in it.
Yeah.
And
completely.
because you can get stuck in it and that will create stress. And stress is like the biggest thing for the health of the body. Like if you're stressed, it's going to cause chronic stress. If you get stuck in it, your body's going to react in that. And there's so much research it's like 70 to 80% of the diseases and illnesses are caused just from stress itself. And there's a book, it's a marriage book. It's like 7 Principles of Marriage. I forget the author's name. A very well-known author, and he's like heavily researched and everything. But essentially this book is about be positive in relationship, because the negativity can just break it down. It just like destroys relationships, and the ones that last are the ones that are positive. And I think it's a very similar reflection of what you're going down now. Is like just bring that positivity back. And I mean, there may not be as easy what you're suggesting and how much but you practice it. It seems like that's what you do, and it's like you're training that muscle to be
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not going down this negative path. Like it's a choice.
Yeah.
It is a choice.
And I think it's another like positive use of shame. I'll feel like embarrassment if I'm in a bad mood, like really like, and even like a sense of professionalism. Like you'll never, ever, ever catch me going into work without a smile on my face just because it's professional. Like it's just not impressive to walk in and no one really cares that much. Like no one really cares, I think is like a good way to think about it. But yeah, I think that's why it's useful to have a goal and like be not like busy in a workaholic way or whatever, but sometimes it's good to be too busy to have a bad day. Sometimes I will have such a busy day where I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be an easier day if I'm positive, you know. And it can be, it's not a distraction, but like I know a lot of busy guys, like in a good way, that are doing quite well for themselves. And like I just couldn't even imagine talking to them and then have them having little problems. Like, I'm just having a bad day. They just, like,
Mhm.
they're whole problems. And I know, like, one guy I'm thinking of right now, who, like, maybe there'll be like a health thing with someone they know. They'll be like, oh, it would be good to talk about that. And they don't want to dwell on it massively and, like, not
Yeah.
let it ruin that thing. But yeah, there's a really good book by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. And, remember, like, I used to work as a cook, and one of the Nepalese cooks gave it to me. And I did think positive thinking was quite lame at the time because that was when I was like just starting off as a boxer, and I had gone through a little bit of stuff which got me into boxing. And I had a really negative mindset and like pretty shocking mental health, like just
Mm.
hated life, just wanted like pain. Like one of the things I loved about boxing was the pain. And like, like when you're in such a bad spot in your head, the physical pain can be quite nice because it's like a bit of a break. So like I'd love a good blood nose or like even like a broken rib. Like I did love the boxing like that sense. And I thought positive was just the worst. I was like, no, I need to be like a vicious, broken down thing to box. Yeah, it did help a lot. Hey, I probably forget a lot of the principles in the book now, but they've obviously stuck pretty well. And ever since, like, I come into boxing with this mindset of like, oh, I love it here. Like, I love to box. It's so much fun. Like, yeah, you're punching someone in the face and trying to like beat them up a little bit, but it's good fun. Like, it's nice. And like, even I remember watching this video a couple of years ago, and when I retired from boxing, I reverted back to the same mindset with my business, where I was like, I just want to work as hard as possible and grind myself down and have that negative mindset. And I saw this video, this guy talking about how like, if you think about it like that, you're just gonna hate work and there's only no passion behind it.
Mhm.
Like just it's such a fun game to grow a business. Like it's like you got to work on exactly what you want to work on, make really good money if you do, work with great people. And I was like, oh, that's so refreshing. And nowadays, like the reason I can work at like 8, 9 p.m. after starting at like 3:30 in the morning is just because I'm literally like dying to do it. Like I'm having so much fun where I'm like, I prefer to like go on my computer and work on something. I do something. It's just so fun. Like I prefer that than scrolling on social media or
Mm.
whatever. It's just more fun, which is such a better way to think about it. But sometimes you do need that. Like you do need that negative source to kind of get going at times, and then you kind of like settle in and you can chill out a bit, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. Balance. Always balance.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not easy to just go to one place, but
nice. How do you think that men can? Because we spoke about. No, I know what I was going to ask. I wanted to ask like how you actually got into boxing. Like you said something about your story, maybe in a darker place. Like, what is
yeah.
your kind of entry into it and what was going on?
I just like I won't say that like publicly-ish, but I grew up so like parents split up growing up, which is no big deal really. And then me and my brother above me lived with my dad. And then some stuff were going on there. So we're like, oh, we'll go live with mum a little bit, like 50-50. Because at the time my mum had a bit of a shitty boyfriend, which is why we moved to my dad. And then my dad didn't take it super well, so he kind of went off like up north to work. So we're like, well, I guess we're living with my mum now. Like, and my mum didn't really know all the stuff that was going on with me and her boyfriend, but I told her, and she wasn't like, it's just tough. Like, I love my mum, so I really don't want to put her on. Like, she didn't do a bad job or whatever. She's in a tough place.
Mm.
So anyway, like we lived there with him, and we did get into like a bit of scuffles together. And one day, like, I think I was just ignoring my mum because I was pretty upset that like she didn't take my side when we moved there. And he was all like, like you got to talk back to her. And I was like, fuck off, mate. But at the time, he was quite a scary dude. And we ended up getting into a bit of a scuffle with him winning, obviously, because I was like 16. And then my mum saw the whole thing, but she's an amazing person. She's just in a tough place where she couldn't really do much about it. So it was tough. I pretty much was stuck there and I couldn't really go tell anyone about it because of the place we were in. And I didn't really have any support because my dad was away. And it was just how it was. I remember the school counselor was like, just don't bring it up. I was like, what the fuck?
Mm.
So I was a real whip back then. Just nothing about me. Like I remember coming last in a 400-meter run against a kid that was like 120 kilos just because I gave up. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I had like my average grade was like a 40. And it was just like switched to me where I was like, it's all up to me now. I've got to look after myself kind of thing, which was really, that was probably one of the biggest turns in my life. Like I'm very grateful for what happened. And I was like, so I'd wake up at 4 a.m. every day and train boxing in my garage for like 2 or 3 hours as hard as I could. Like I've still got like scars on my knuckles a bit, but I'd have like all bloody hands. Probably just because I thought it looked cool all the time. But I trained so hard because it was like in my mind, like I had to learn how to defend myself. Otherwise I was
Mm-hmm.
fucked. Like, this guy was pretty scary. And
Mm-hmm.
he did go for it when we went, it was pretty scary. And then like, like I think they broke up like 6 months later or something else or whatever, and it was all good. But obviously it stuck in me, and I was just like, I was in a real dark place when that happened, and it just felt like it was just me. Like I had to be able to sort everything out and like have my back, which was really good. And then I went on to having I was literally in like the dumbest class of everything in school, failing when I went on to like do the whole ATAR pathway and go into uni and like graduate with marks and do like a double degree. And then I also competed full-time boxing and like moved out of home and bought a house. It was just, honestly, it's so good. Like I hate that guy. Like I saw him it was actually at my oldest brother's wedding. He was there and it was like a week after I went to the nationals. Like, yeah, I definitely still wanted to hit him. And I was like, fuck this guy. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Like, it still shook me up a little bit seeing the bloke. But there's definitely there's hard feeling towards him. Like, fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. But like everybody else involved, there's no charms at all. Like, even my brother inviting to the wedding, like, really, at the time period, I was a bit cut up about that. But now I'm like, who cares? Just leave it. Who gives a shit? It's not really a big deal. And even like, yeah, like with my mom, there's there's definitely two ways to go down the street, you know what I mean? There's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a way to, I can't believe this and this and this. But, I don't know what was going on with everything. I'd much prefer to be ignorant and like, I do think she did her best and like, there's no hard feelings there. And like, I 100% would choose to go down that path again. I would not want anything to change because like, I reckon if that didn't happen, I'd be working at like a bloody, Coles and be a complete loser living at home still, I reckon, if that didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen. Like, it is one of the best things that happened to me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. It's
That's good.
yeah, no, it's great. It's great to hear. And I think it's very powerful for the men listening to this to also hear that because they can
Yeah.
see how you can use those painful experiences and it has such a positive impact, right?
Definitely.
And you've really like you've used it and you've cultivated yourself now, right? And using that positive kind of affirmations and the training. Yes, obviously there's like unhealthy aspects going into it where, making yourself bleed on the knuckles. It doesn't need to go down to that length, right? But it's
Absolutely.
you used it to train the body to step more into life. And it's led you down this path to where you are today. And it's absolutely, I think, a very great and healthy place to head down. Because we could go two ways. It's like we focus on purely this negative, like just in that response, in that situation, stay in it and have that resentfulness, have that feeling of abandonment from the mother or that fear and everything that goes on, because it could be, right? It sounds like a very challenging situation to be in. So absolutely, it could go down that path. And if it does go down that path, yeah, let's kind of get the help and support that we need so we can get this positive affirmations and see like everything behind us, everything in our past did help us to build who we are
Yeah,
today.
definitely a feel like when you can look at anything bad that happens to you as like, oh, now like I can get through something like that. Everything above that is like, bring it on. Like, it's tough. That took me a long time and it was a really, really tough thing to happen and left heaps of damage, which is all sweet now, but definitely rocked me for a couple of years. Like, it wasn't perfect. Like, but It's so good because now I definitely have the mindset of if I want to get anything, I just got to go out and do it. It's all on me. And it's such a good way to live. Like, because obviously I was at the time felt like the most impossible thing. How do I stand up to this bloke? Just being a young kid and it's like pretty big task to do. And when you get forced into a situation where you got to deal with something like that, not that I had a big scuffle again or anything like that.
Mm.
To be fair, he probably was like, oh shit, that might have been, I don't know what happened. I can't really remember, to be honest. But yeah, it's a useful thing. And I do think when you go to something like that, it's cool because anything above that you can deal with. You know, and it's almost like if you lift 100 kilo bench press, you're like, oh, cool, 99 and below, great on. I'm not scared
Yeah.
at all. It is a powerful way to live. And you can, and like when you look at anti-fragile systems, like the whole idea of when something bad happens, it only improves you more. If you can adopt that, it is super powerful. It means like if someone yells at you, it's like, sweet, awesome. Another thing to chuck in my book. And then when someone tries to mess with you or life does bother you, it does seem like there's nothing bad that can happen. And that philosophy definitely gets tested from time to time. And you're like, oh shit, well, how does this one work? How are you supposed to make this into a good thing? But usually if you have the experience, you can settle yourself and be like, all right, maybe after, you're not going to be so wise straight away. Shit just happens sometimes and it's going to be a mess, and that's fine. You
Yeah.
just got to have patience to be like, all right, let's just give it a couple of days or a couple of weeks and hopefully this will settle down into a lesson I can learn. Trying to learn too fast can be a bit overwhelming. Sometimes you got to just be a bit upset about it and let it kind of wreck you and ruin your routine. Like you just got to have the, what's the right word? Like mindfulness to be like, hey, it's all good. Let's just give it a couple of days. And
Yeah.
I've got a bit off for a couple of days. That's the time when I think people can say like, all right, I'm giving myself a minute or a break. And like, you know, I'm doing it for my mental health. That I think is appropriate.
Yeah.
But just being tired on a Thursday afternoon from work and being like, I need to go get an ice cream.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that as well because there's a lot of men, and particularly that nice guy mentality men, who struggle to be with the emotion or be in the discomfort of
Yeah.
what is going on. And they'll react to it and be like, okay, I have to do something. I have to. And it seems like what you're suggesting is like trying to, one, be comfortable with whatever the experience is going on and how to stay grounded in those situations. Like, how do you stay centered and grounded to help you maybe not make the impulsive decision?
I don't know. Like, I do think just controlling the emotion is important. Like, I think when you believe that you can like control how you feel, then you kind of get on the path to like being able to. You got to kind of like, got to think that you can first. But I do think like, I do really believe that. I talk about it. It will like, oh, I'll just choose to be happy. I'll probably say it in a bit of like a more blunt way than like most people say it. But I just, yeah, I'll just always kind of say stuff like that. So when something does happen, I feel like I'll prep myself for that almost where I'm like I can control this because I always say I do. Like I better be able to do it now. And like having a good faith, like I will pray that. I pray every day. So like praying that stuff helps me get it off my chest a little bit. Like I do believe that I can like when I pray, I'll kind of like think about that as like finishing that problem off in my mind at least. And like that'll kind of like tick off the whole thinking about a process. And I'll be like, all right, it's yours now. Like I've done all I can do kind of thing. Like do what you need to do kind of thing. I even remember growing up, like this, I feel like I'm such a bad memory when I've grown up. Maybe it's from boxing. Like I remember something happening and I was like a young kid and my mom was saying like, pray about it. And then my cupboard was right in front of me. She's like, pray about it and then put it in a box and put it in the cupboard and it's all gone. It's like, and you can just forget about it. I did always kind of keep that, I reckon. I was like, yeah. Again, it's not going to happen like as soon as you crash your car, I'm just going to be like, all right, let's pray again. So with sometimes you do have to just like freak out a little bit and not control the emotion and not settle into it. Sometimes you got to freak out and go down every single pathway. But you do need to like discipline yourself. So at some point you got to be like, all right. So,
Like in those chaotic moments, can you still stay grounded but still do the action?
I don't know. Sometimes I reckon, like, I think I'm pretty solid at it. Yeah. Sometimes, like, best I can, I guess. Like, definitely sometimes. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let's start to wrap up. And so I want to ask, what I do with guests is I ask for like top tips, steps, processes for men. So for men that are looking for that discipline, that consistency, and even bring in some aspect around that, because I know you said a lot around fat loss in particular. Well, one, what is like the biggest setbacks and barriers that you see? Let's go down that path first.
Oh, probably one is like people not willing to get help and kind of invest in coaching. I think comes from a bit of embarrassment. Like, even myself, like, you do find when you want to, it's just like as a man, like I've got a business coach, for example, but even I'm embarrassed saying that. I'm like, fuck, it's kind of embarrassing. Like, do I really need to pay someone to help me out with this? Like,
Mm.
you know, and I talk to guys all the time about like, yeah, we just talk and check-in calls about this stuff. And I was talking to a guy the other day who was like, oh, I remember signing up and I was just like, just so embarrassed and needing to get help with this thing. So I think if you are really struggling with it, like, man, just pay someone to pretty much sort it out for you. Like, you're not going to be embarrassed if your pipe's leaking and you don't know how to fix it and you call a plumber. There's nothing
Yeah.
embarrassing about it. Like, it's just such a smart thing to do to be able to like outside. And it's even like if you look at the businessmen who get stuck at like small business and not that I'm big business, but the people like that, and then compared to people who really like do well and make a big business, you see the guys that are working 16 hours a day and they're like, they don't want to get help. They don't want to get like this person to sort this job out. They don't want to get a guy to deal with staff. They don't want to get a guy to deal with marketing. And then you see the guy to tire up and he's like, yeah, I didn't know how to do marketing, so I just paid a guy to do it for me. And you're like, oh, it's not even like a issue in their head. So I'd say definitely just get over yourself and just pay the money to sort it out. Like, it's actually the smarter and more like impressive or like wiser thing to do.
Yeah.
But at like a personal level, because definitely can do it by yourself. Like, the number one thing people need to do is just start tracking their food if it's fat loss focused and get into a good habit of that. Like, I think a lot of the time we see on social media, people say, especially to sell coaching, they'll say like, you don't need more information. You need consistency and structure and accountability, which is, there's definitely a point there. And because they're saying like, you don't need to learn more about calories. You already know about calories. Like, why aren't you doing it? You need accountability. But if you track everything you ate really accurately and with no stress about like eat 5,000 calories in a day, eat 1,500, whatever, just track what you're eating carefully, but track it really accurately. After a year or two, you'll get such a good understanding about like what is in your food that you just make smarter decisions by it. The reason that I can shake pretty much year round is not because I love working out, because I don't really. Like, I just kind of work out because I have to. And I do love junk food. Like, I don't love eating healthy at all. I'm not like a whole foods kind of guy at all. But the reason that I can stay in shape year round is because, like, if I'm cutting down, for example, and I'm having a burger at home, I just know 5% like beef meat is going to save me like 140 calories per patty than like milk. And I also know lion's cheese will save me like 49 calories per slice. And I know like, if Beck's like, do you want to have avocado in yours? I'm like, it's 180 calories, a little bit of, I'm not even, probably not during a trimming down phase. And then I've saved myself 400 calories in one meal. And then if I do that across like 4 meals or 3 meals, I'm like, that's my deficit right there. But you got to know it. You got to like, it's not that hard. Like, I think some people have this mindset around food tracking. No, it's hard. It's unhealthy. It's ruining my relationship with food. No, just do it. Like, just shut up. Stop thinking. Like, it is the best way to do it. And like, you actually get a better relationship with food because like, if your target is 1,800 calories a day and you've had 1,500 calories a day with good food, and by the end of the day you want to have an ice cream and it's 300 calories, you can be like, yeah, and you'll have it guilt-free and you'll achieve your goals. That's having a great relationship with food. Whereas like if you're just dieting and eating healthy, every single time you have an ice cream, you're going to feel bad about yourself, even if it's good or bad for your goals. Like, you need to be goal-oriented and be like, fat loss is my goal, these are my numbers, and I'm just going to work within those numbers.
Nice. Amazing. I think, is there anything else you think would be useful for the men potentially at the start of their journey? You said about getting help, tracking their nutrition. Is there anything else you believe that they could do to help bring a bit more consistency?
Well, obviously coaches is a good idea. Like, if you just hire a trainer, if you're not like an online kind of guy or an online coach, accountability is quite useful. Like, do it with your partner, set up like a little sheet where you both track your things each day, and definitely aim for adherence and like consistency over targets. Don't say how many days in a row can I get 1,500 calories eaten or below. Just say how many times a day can I track my food and tick it off. I'll be like a 200-day habit or like a 1-year habit. Because I think the thing that people struggle with is not necessarily eating in a calorie deficit. Because if I say like, hey, you've got even a low-ish number, which isn't that low, but if I said 1,500 calories a day, that's not that hard. Like, if you plan that out well, it's very doable. And especially if you like bank calories for the weekend, you could definitely average 1,500 calories. But it's like when people want Thursday or Friday, they just get tired and they don't want to track that thing that they ate. And because they're not tracking their food, they eat whatever, and then it all goes down the drain. I think if I just set a goal, like, can I track every day? Just the tracking itself is probably the biggest habit. But with whatever goal they go after, just look for consistency. Oh, men and women, but men are very all in. I think like I know I definitely am. It's very easy to set a goal. So going back to the whole balance and discipline thing, it's very easy, surprisingly easy, to set a goal of like 1,200 calories a day, 10,000 steps, and 6 workouts. It's actually hard to set a goal of like 1,800 calories on average across the week and 5,000 steps most days and 4 workouts. Because then it's like, oh, it's not even that exciting. I'm not even that revved up about that. Like, and then it's like, it's actually, but that's the right thing to do because you can actually stick to that. And then you do that 4 weeks in a row, you'll be on fire. You'll be like, oh my goodness, this is so good. I feel so consistent. I feel so good. Compared to like killing yourself for 4 days, feel terrible. And then completely bowling out for 3 days, then you also feel terrible. And then you don't get back on because you feel so bad. Like, and then they just not on, like, you just better learn. It's like and I did the same thing. Like 3 or 4 weeks later, you're like, I'll do it again. This is the time. And you're like, you just try a different approach, man. Like, yeah, just like a bit of consistency, a bit of leeway within reason is definitely useful. But yeah, and I think some kind of money is very useful for guys and girls, but make these bets based around adherence and consistency, not around target. Like, don't say who can lose the most weight in 4 weeks, because that's just like a surefire way. Yeah, you might win, but you're not going to hold that result. Like, it's going to be very like, go, and then blow out. But if you say, like, I've got a bet with a couple of friends right now, we put $50 into an account each week, and you have to fill out a spreadsheet, and it's like calories, protein, did you take your creatine, and your weight for the day. And like sometimes one of us won't take creatine or won't weigh in or I had 5,050 calories last weekend on a Saturday and I'm trying to cut down right now. I'm still safe in the bet. It's just you have to fill the spreadsheet out before midnight each night. Like I've dropped like 8 kilos in 8 weeks and I think most people have done something similar. So it's just like because you have to track it and you have to put it by the end of the night, you're like, oh, we try not to have 5,000 calories today. And then once every couple of weeks, you might do that. But that's definitely the way to spend the money if you don't do it like that. Not like who can lose the most weight, who can do the lowest calories. Because that's just like race to the bottom pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sam. How can men connect with you? How can they work with you? What would you suggest is the best way?
Instagram probably is the best. My username is Sam Zulch PT. Just shoot me a message. I'm pretty like easygoing. I'm not a big sales guy. Like if you want to have a chat about coaching, we can just kind of talk about it. And if like the price isn't it or you just don't like me, I can just give you some advice to like what you can do on your own. I'm actually quite keen on like helping people out. Like it's good if I can help someone out and not get paid for it. It doesn't bother me that much. Not like free coach, but like if I can just give you some advice, it's pretty cool to see those results in a couple months' time. So I'm always happy to help out, even if it doesn't mean like one-to-one paid coaching or whatever.
Nice. I'll share the all your details in the description as well, so they have easy access to that. Okay. So thank you, guys. That is Working on It. Tune in next time. I'm Anthony Ball. See you then.